So I know where my next guest was on May the 7th. My next guest, who happens to do an unbelievable job after me each and every weekday morning here on 77 WABC at 10 a.m. Also part of the great trio, Fox and Friends, every morning on Fox News. And his own show, which is the best show on Fox News. I mean that. One Nation, 10 p.m. on Sunday nights, Brian Kilmeade. I know that on May the 7th, Brian Kilmeade was at a hotel in Washington, D.C., and the president was there. And it was supposed to be a night of laughs, and the president, who never went to that dinner, the White House Correspondents' dinner, having a good time. And it turned out to be an assassination attempt. You remember it well. What a crazy night that was. But the president, what does he do? He says, okay, we'll do it again. And believe it or not, tonight, I believe at the Waldorf Astoria in Washington, D.C., they're going to do it again. So the question, Brian, is, well, really two questions or two statements. This does go to show you the mettle of President Trump. And secondly, will you be there again tonight?
No, absolutely not. I'm done. I mean, that place was packed. You couldn't move. It was great, though, to interact with the cabinet. It was just, you turn around and there's Jamieson Greer. You turn around and there's Todd Blanche. And it was just so cool to listen to people, talk to them casually, get the inside story. And that lunatic ruined a fantastic night. But I'm done. You know, to go out to Washington, blow a weekend and go out there, I'm not doing it. I don't think many people are going. I don't think anyone from Fox is going. We went from having 4 tables. I don't even know if we have 1 table. So the president goes back to a dinner, and I'm sure you saw Jim Acosta is trying to rally other Washington reporters to get in the face of Donald Trump because he disrespects the press. And I'm thinking, you idiot. I mean, you talk about timing. This guy not only went back to the Washington Correspondents' dinner, had a press conference after, saluted everyone that put it together, and said, let's go back. I will clear out my schedule to do it again. And then you have people grandstanding, saying that he doesn't treat the press with respect. Therefore, we should get in his face tonight. Do you believe this?
Oh, I believe it, all right. And I tell you, it also, you can go into the Secret Service conversation because most people said, yeah, they did good. You know, the guy never really got close to getting inside and hurting anybody. Others say, well, he got too close for my comfort. And we're still looking for answers on what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, and what's going on. I read a couple days ago, Brian, maybe you can confirm this or deny it, that the Secret Service has now, over the last couple of months, exposed or unveiled over 10,000 different plans or attempts to kill President Trump. That's a big number. Sounds to me like they're doing a halfway decent job, no?
Yeah, and Sean Curran, who's a great guy, I saw him Sunday at the World Cup final, and I talked to him, and he says, we've never seen anything like this. He's been doing this 26 years, and he's never seen anything like it. And now it goes to the whole cabinet. They're telling the cabinet, do not get into a car service. Only our cars can you get into. Because there is such a level of threats, it's off the charts, you know, because of the Iran situation, because of the domestic situation. You know, we saw a stabbing in Central Park yesterday. I'm not saying they're going for the White House, but it just shows you yelling Allah Akbar. That's a little of the radicalism that we're up against when it talks to Iranians who are all over this country, many of which fled that horrendous regime. But I worry about others. They pretended to hate that regime and are here looking to perpetrate some type of crime. But I do have faith in this Secret Service. If you get to the White House these days, I know you go all the time, but now they really have shut down that area. You have to go to the other side of the park, to walk through a park, to get to the fence, to get to the White House. When I first started, and I was lucky enough to go to the White House during the Bush years, you could drive around the White House. So they are really protecting the place. And, and I sense we even have this drone technology to bring things down. I heard a lot about that at the UFC event. But it's crazy. You know, I don't really know if it's ever going to subside. Really, I don't.
Well, it will subside if a Democrat wins, and God forbid, in 2028 it will subside. But this is my dear friend who's amazing on radio, on TV. He really is, Brian Kilmeade. You mentioned the attacks on the Upper West Side, 2 stabbings and yelling Allah Akbar. And right away I went to Twitter at Sid Rosenberg 19. I'm vicious on there. I curse. I do all this stuff they tell you not to do. I don't care. And I said, Mayor Mamdani, the blood is on your hands. He puts out a tweet that this type of stuff, this horrible type of stuff, is not welcome in our city. But who's he kidding? When he spends day after day after day talking about arresting a prime minister of a country that's our number one ally, Bibi Netanyahu, who President Trump loves, who Sid Rosenberg loves, who Brian Kilmeade loves, who Monica Crowley loves. It's enough. All he does is Jew bash every day. You got people dying of Legionnaire's disease. You got homeless encampments all over the city. You got anti-Semitic attacks everywhere. You got rich millionaires and billionaires leaving the city like it's on fire. And all this lowlife, this anti-Semite lowlife wants to do is talk about Bibi and Israel. And when Jews get stabbed in the city, he's going to act surprised? Is he that stupid, Brian?
He said it's possibly a hate crime. Oh, you think? You think it's a hate crime? No, I just think the guy had an extra knife and was just testing it for sharpness. Are you crazy? And then you talk about what he did yesterday. He's mocking the fact that he's going to be taxing people if they don't make this their first home to raise money. So he's saying, look, I'm going to raise $500 million for those people who have second homes here, the PDR tax or whatever it's called. So again, what do you think guys like Ken Ackman, what do you think guys like Ken Griffin decide to do? Okay, you don't want me to have that $20 million apartment here, $5 million apartment here? I won't. Good luck. Find somebody else that wants to live there full time. There's very few that can afford these apartments. And you want to punish people for deciding to live in New York City. So, and then you have a battle going on right now. And my hope is this guy thinks he's gaining political capital. I don't want the city to go down because we work here every day. You live here. But the people have to see what this socialism and what this ineptitude brings. He's living off what Eric Adams allowed Tisch to do here in New York City. And he's like, look at how low the numbers are. Yeah, they're low for murders and assaults. Everything else is up. So it bothers me that somehow people think he's doing a good job when the Bibi thing, I'm going to arrest Bibi Netanyahu, was just the latest promise broken to all the people that put him in office.
That's true. And then I wonder about some of the people that, you say there are people saying he's doing a good job. You get plenty of those. Meet the Press and George Stephanopoulos' show and Face the Nation. You'll see those people, and they mean it. They're morons like Brad Lander. But I'm starting to see, Brian, some other people like liberal Jewish organizations, they're going the other way. Now, look, there's even people at Fox News and here at my own station who are not Israel fans. They're not Bibi fans. It's everywhere. Sorry, I'm being honest. It's everywhere because they're stupid, bottom line, okay? But I think I'm starting to see a little bit of a shift from people that were willing to give this loser a chance that have seen enough. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, I am. I really am. And just I ask people out there, because he smiles when he talks, just listen to the words, and it defies his body language. If someone looks up to you and says, I'm going to kick your ass, and he smiles, right? And he touches you on the shoulder and you go, wait a second. It's like you're being nice to me, but you're actually challenging me to a fight. That's what he does. He smiles at you and says, he really is saying, I despise you. He really is. And he's like laughing at us. Like, do you realize I pulled this off? Do you realize I became mayor by lying and, yes, sometimes telling the truth? But because my body language defies my actions, it throws people off. And, if you see a tough guy that looks like Charles Bronson and he talks, he says he wants to be a socialist and he doesn't like a certain race or religion, you go, okay, I know how to hate that person. But what if that person has a big smile on their face, look defensive, can't curl 30 pounds or bench his own weight? You look at him and go, well, how harmless? He's harmless. But they're realizing he's not. He's not harmless. But he's also inept. Did you hear the New York Times podcast when he was asked, you want to be battling for working class people? I do. So what's the working class? How much do they make? What do they do? What are their occupations? What is the threshold? Because those rich people are making too much, so you want to help out who? So tell me what's too much. He goes, I don't go to bed thinking about what that is. No, yes, you should, because it's called math. You have a philosophy that you want to put together and decide what tax rate you have. That's fundamentally, if you have a belief, you got to work it out. So he is sitting there, that doesn't even define what working class is. He wants to help workers, but the people that vote for him are overeducated white people who are on the descent, who make out on the average $60,000. They're not blue-collar workers. They don't have a callus. They don't use free weights. They never broke a sweat. They just took ridiculous courses and are wondering why life is unfair to them.
Boy, that is so well said. This is Brian Kilmeade. This is why Brian is a huge star in our business today. That was perfect, Brian. It really was. About 3 minutes to go, I'd be remiss if I didn't discuss Iran with you. You're so good with the foreign policy stuff. And, you know, it's basically at this point, it's all-out war. Not yet, but that's where we're going. There's no two ways about it. And I've been yelling about this for months. I know you have, too. It's the only way to end this. There's no other way. There is no diplomacy, wasting time, Kushner and Witkoff and Vance and all that nonsense. They will go down if they have to. They're not going to do a deal. They're not going to comply. So all-out war, I hate to say it because some of your colleagues will get mad at me. I don't care. It's the only way to end this. That's where we're going. Yes?
Yes, and Trump gets it. There was a story in the New York Post today that when the Iraqi leader came to visit him, he gave him terms for a ceasefire to hand off to the Iranian officials, and they're not going for it. It was probably extreme. But I'm very comfortable. And by the way, I talked to Jared Kushner for a long time on Sunday, and he's a good guy, and Steve Witkoff's a good guy. And they do their research, but they are not capable. No one is capable of landing a deal because you have to have rational actors on both sides. We're not dealing with rational actors. The president finally realizes that. He explored everything. I'm talking about bad guys you can do deals with, but irrational people you can't, who don't care about their people. And now the Houthis are involved, and now oil is $100 a barrel, and they're trying to shut down the Red Sea to various success. So we have no choice. We have no choice. I love that the president says, hey, I got like $500 billion in frozen funds. I'm going to start using it. Every little thing, all the damage the Houthis do, we're taking out of your money. And I want to see restitution to the Marine families in the 80s and those people that were victims of VFPs through the Iraq War and the victims on Kilmeade. I want all those frozen funds going to restitution to Americans who have been killed in the past, including the families that lost their loved ones they came back in caskets on Dover earlier this week. So the president's going to start doing that. And I think I understand from people that really know the military, right? It's like if you want to know what kind of quarterback you have, I want Tom Brady to go watch him in practice. So the people that really know the military, they say Cooper has got great plans. He just wants the opportunity to do it. He's been held back. I believe he's not going to be held back now, and it's not ground troops. We have to take these guys out. We got to call 1-800-Mossad, and if they're not going to do it personally, I want the addresses. These guys got to go down, and everybody in the region will cheer, and around the world, those cowards in Europe should be helping us out with assets and intelligence. London was called out yesterday saying, hey, you guys are letting America use their bases. We're going to target you. When are they going to realize we're actually fighting their battle? We don't need the Strait. They need the Strait. So I think the president's going to ramp it up to ramp down. And I think that the headline is go big or go home. And the president says, I'm circling go big. I'm going to talk to General Keane during your show on Fox and Friends at 7:15. So I really encourage you to watch it. And if I can encourage anybody to watch one speech that encapsulates what I believe and what you should believe, it's Tim Sheehy yesterday on the Senate floor just talked about, he's a Navy SEAL and a senator from Montana. He just, with nonpartisan, he goes, stop it. Stop pretending like Iran hasn't been our 47-year enemy. Stop saying war of choice. This president decided to take on our enemy who declared war on us 47 years ago. That's his choice to take them out. so the next president doesn't have to. If you want to win the midterms like that, please pick another issue. You got other issues. You could pick on Trump. But please don't do it when it comes to Iran, because we all know that that these are the bad guys, and we're not.
I love Tim Sheehy, and he is 100% right, and so are you. All right, about 60 seconds to go. I'm glad you've got Keen on today, but we're about 2 days away. As I mentioned, the best show on Fox News, 10 p.m. every Sunday night. I'm a guest all the time. I love it. One Nation. What are we looking at, Brian Kilmeade, in about 2 days?
So did you notice the Washington Post editorial page has gone balanced? It's not just Mark Thiessen. There are other people who are actually conservative writing there, and it's a lot of times the editorial page. I found the guy behind it. And I said, wait, you just called out every socialist that says Medicare for all and says it costs $8.7 trillion. It's totally unaffordable. You called them out. What's going on? And I found him. He comes on the show to talk about what Jeff Bezos did. Said, you're right, Mr. President. We have to get a balanced page. Not telling him what to write. So I got him on. Dave McCormick is going to be with us to lead off. I also have this guy, John Johnson. Well, who the hell is he? The hottest issue in the country, data centers. AI needs it. We need them. We need energy. But a lot of people don't want it. They don't like the sound. They don't like the hum. They worry about some of it's powered by diesel. They're worried about the fumes. Okay. How do we fix it? John Johnson's got a sustainable way to do it and not lose the AI race. He's going to be with us. I did this 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you've ever brought this up on your show, Sid. It is the hottest issue. I'm still getting email from Mike Rowe's appearance on my show last week when he said, build them. A lot of people wrote back, Republicans too, said, we got to be smart about it. The president brought it up yesterday. And they got Abby Hornacek's going to be with us too. Adam O'Neill is the editorial page writer, by the way. And I got Don Garber on. I know you're not the biggest soccer guy, but he's the commissioner of the MLS. How does he build off the stunning success of the World Cup? I convinced him to come in. He's going to be on with us Sunday at 10 o'clock. That's all coming your way. But everybody's talking about it, almost like the Trump watches. October 17th, Westbury Music Fair. I'm going to be with Uniting the States, my book that comes out October 13th. And I'll be on stage in the round. So go to BrianKilmeade.com. Sid, we're working on 4 different scenes. I think at least 2 of which have you all over them. It's just what founding father or significant person in our past you want to play. Of course, I got to go through your agent. It's not going to be direct. We'll have to go through your people. But to get you on stage is going to be fun.
I can't wait. And talking about John Johnson, I'm very familiar because, as it turns out, locally, that's a big issue because the governor, Kathy Hochul, she has now put a moratorium for 1 year on these AI data centers. And our guy, Bruce Blakeman, says, no. I'm aware of the pitfalls. They're out there. I'm aware of those, but we need them. We need these centers. So not only am I aware of it, I've covered it, and Bruce Blakeman, that's become a big issue for him, actually a fighting point for him against Kathy Hochul. Kilmeade, as always, spectacular job. Thank you so much.
No one better than you, Sid. Thanks so much because you stay within yourself. You don't need me to tell you. See you later.
I love you. I really do, Brian. He's amazing. Brian Kilmeade follows me each and every morning at 10 o'clock right here on 77 WABC. Fox and Friends, One Nation, 10 p.m. Sunday nights. We're just getting started. Big Friday morning show. Sid and Friends in the morning. Keep it right here.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?